As kingdom leaders, we're learning how to build a prevailing church in these last days. Jesus said, I will build my church, and not even the gates of hell will prevail against it. That means he's building a prevailing church. He's building it in you, he's building it in me, and we've got 4 lessons that give insights. We've looked at Ephesians chapter 6 on how to take our stand. We've looked at Numbers 22 through 24 on how to recognize a curse, how to break it off, and how to receive healing for our pain so that we will not have really open doors where the enemy can gain access during these evil days. We've seen that in these days there are new demons that are active in our world. Demons that have attached themselves to COVID-19. Demons that have attached themselves to racism, social injustice, and the spirit of anarchy. And demons that have attached themselves to the political process in this election year. These are new demons. And they're swarming. And you and I want to know how to stand against them. Well, in the past 2 weeks, we've been looking at these lessons, on these teachings, from Numbers 22 to 24. We've seen 2 leaders, Balak, the political leader, the pagan political leader, and Balaam, the pagan prophet, the pagan religious leader. Now, if it was just in the Old Testament, we could learn from it and move on, but I want to point this out. Twice in the New Testament, God reminds us of Balaam. In 2 Peter 2, verse 15, it talks about the way of Balaam and warns the church in the last days about the way of Balaam. The way of Balaam, of trying to curse the people of God, of being paid off to manipulate and use witchcraft against the people of God. That's the way of Balaam. And if that was just the only place, we might be able to dismiss it, but there's a second. It's Revelation chapter 2, verse 14. And it talks about a judgment that was against the church because they gave space to the teaching of Balaam. That it was actually being taught. The way of witchcraft, the way of manipulation, the way of trying to control the kingdom leader, the set one. So what it's clearly saying is the way of Balaam, the teaching of Balaam, is going to make a comeback. And it's not going away. Balaam is dead and gone, but the same curse is active. In fact, I want to point out something. In the book of the Revelation, it talks about 2 beasts. The first beast is a political leader, and he's the Antichrist. The second beast is the false prophet. Now, listen, just look at this. A pagan political leader is the first beast. A pagan religious leader is the second beast. What this is saying is our 2 leaders, the pagan political leader Balak and the pagan religious leader Balaam, are a foreshadowing, an Old Testament example of what's going to rise on the world scene. And us today learning to deal with the spirit of Balak and the spirit of Balaam, this is our calling. Today you and I have an opportunity to learn now how to stand against the beast and the second beast when they rise on the scene, should we be alive during that time. And if not, it's up to us to train our children, our grandchildren, so that when that time comes, they will be able to take their stand. No, I call you, kingdom leader. I call you. Take your stand. Don't grumble, don't complain, don't get down, don't just get beat up, don't bellyache over, oh man, why do I have to pastor under this situation? Why do I have to face this? Seminary didn't teach me this. There's no books written on how to lead a church through a pandemic. Would you grow up? Grow up. Take your stand. God has given you authority in Christ. And He's calling you into maturity, to exercise your nobility, to step into the dignity of your redeemed humanity under the authority of Christ, so that you can take your stand and build a prevailing church, and to take your church with you in these days. No, you can tell I'm a little fired up. Perhaps I should apologize for that, but I can't. My assignment is to equip you with an insight that what's going on in our day may never have happened before, but it was foretold. I'm not saying this is the last time, and that I'm not saying that the Antichrist has been born and is about to take power. I'm not saying where we are on the continuum. I know better than that. But I'm telling you, the spirit of Balak and the spirit of Balaam and the way of Balaam and the teaching of Balaam is very much at work against us today. And it's time for us to learn from it and to apply these lessons to our lives. God bless you, kingdom leader. We share together. And as one kingdom leader to another, let's learn from Christ as He builds a prevailing church in these last days. And He uses people like us.